Hello, you guys. Welcome back. It's happening. We are in a new season, new era, new all of the things of That's My Personal Business because the podcast is officially turning 3, which I literally can't believe. Can you believe it's been 3 years? I cannot. If you have been here for all 3 years, thank you. It is the biggest honor and blessing and all of the things to hang out with you in your little AirPods every Monday. But I'm so excited. Lots of big changes are happening. We have a new profile pic, new bio, new all of the things coming this season. And let me tell you a little bit about what this season is going to look like. Number one, the biggest thing that's going to be changing. Your girl is probably going to get her shit together and actually, have notes here and all of that good stuff. But the biggest thing is that we are doing monthly series. So every month we're going to have a new topic or theme that we're exploring, both with personal episodes and our guests, so that you can work and compound your knowledge throughout the month to work on one particular aspect of your life or your business and really get the most out of it rather than hopping around, which I'm incredibly excited about. So obviously we're going to kick off this new season, kick off this new chapter, all of these things by talking about my favorite subject ever, which is branding. And I'm just giddy. We're gonna literally get right into it. But first I'm gonna talk about something that may seem unrelated, but it's not going to be. But if you follow along on Instagram, you've probably heard me talk a lot about how over the last year, especially, I've been really trying to educate myself outside of our industry. The creatives, the wedding industry, photography industry, the industry that we're in can get really echo chambery, really echo chambery. And I was realizing that I was basically learning the same stuff from a bunch of different people over and over again. Everyone was talking about the exact same things. It no longer was feeling really helpful. And so I decided I wanted to learn elsewhere. And moving here has also been a huge part of that. I live in New York now. Everyone here is very corporate, whereas before when I was in LA or Utah, I was surrounded by creatives like myself. And so it's been this really interesting chapter of my life to be surrounded by people who are in such a different work world than I am, and to learn from them and their experiences, to learn from their knowledge base, the things that they learn from, as well as just kind of moving into the zone of how can I push my knowledge further in my job outside of the echo chamber that is our industry. So I've been really working lately on doing that and learning different ways to learn, essentially. And so this past week I went to an event for women in business, and we were hearing from some of the top tech women, top women in tech and marketing and just really higher level corporate women, which was so incredible and such an honor just to see women that are top of the top at Google and things like that, where I was just whoa, this is such a different league than what I'm used to. And I want to learn from this, learn from these people, how they've, faced discrimination in the workplace, but also how they've just scaled and the knowledge that they have within their area of expertise. And the thing that we were discussing that evening on their panel that they were discussing really is the cookieless future. And so for those of you that don't know, because I didn't know prior to this night, Google is getting rid of cookies. They're getting rid of third-party cookies, which means that the entire advertising space is going to shift completely. And this is something that, again, I have not ever seen anyone within our industry talk about. And so it was this really mind-blowing thing of oh my gosh, this is going to completely change the way not only big, gigantic brands advertise, but also brands like us, small business owners. And even though agencies and people that work a lot with paid ads are panicking, Google's had to push back getting rid of cookies again into 2024 so that they don't completely F over marketers and agencies in that sense. It's getting really scary for a lot of people. However, I was thrilled. I was so excited to hear this because you guys know I love personal branding. You know I love intuitive marketing. You know I love data, but more than anything, I love personally connecting with your clients. I think that's the best way to sell. And so what this huge shift out of third-party cookies is going to do is make it so that these bigger companies who have these gigantic $1-million ad budgets aren't going to be able to run ads like they used to. And that also means that it's really going to cut back on the barrier to entry and the equity in the marketing space, because you guys know better than anyone, on big apps like Facebook and Instagram owned by Meta, it's hard to get your stuff seen nowadays unless you have a gigantic ad budget, which then leaves out smaller businesses. They literally don't have the revenue to compete in these spaces, and where every third photo is an ad of some sort, it's really unfair basically to the average small business that doesn't have the money for ads, but they're really good at their jobs. And so what this is going to do is just completely lower the barrier to entry into ads, because there's not going to be as much data to go off of. Third-party cookies are not going to be a thing anymore. And it's on top of that, just moving the entire industry, not even the entire industry, the entire economy and way of selling and way of marketing into this more personal, connective state of marketing. And so one of the things that they were talking about on the panel is that even bigger companies are having to like take a step back and be like, how can we build more of a personal relationship with our consumers, our potential consumers, because that's the only way we're going to be able to market moving forward. Which means that now, even at a corporate level, the personal brand is the way to go, which I'm just, you guys know, I like was sitting there like a kid on Christmas Eve, just like, it's happening. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm not a big ads person, so it was like really cool to be able to be like, oh my gosh, wow, this is gonna like lower the barrier of entry into the marketing space. This is gonna make it so that small businesses can, you know, participate in marketing in a easier way, because we're not going to be competing against people that have, you know, tens of thousands, tens of millions of dollars to go into their ads. So let this be your sign, if you are ready, we're not convinced, that even Google is pushing us towards the era of the personal brand and the personal connection and building a really, really beautiful relationship with our clients and potential clients. So let's talk about branding. That is what we're going to be talking about all month. I'm so excited. Today we're going to be like laying the foundation, and then next week we are going to be hearing from the incredible Carly May to talk about the process of self-portraits and showing up, so you're not going to want to miss that. Week 3 of August, we are talking about how to make your brand more profitable, and then we are going to move into week 4, where we're going to talk about comparison, imposter syndrome, comparison fatigue with Ellie McKinney, which I'm incredibly excited about. And then our 5th week, wow, because there's 5 weeks in August, slay, I love another opportunity to talk about branding. We are going to talk about how you should actually be communicating your brand to your ideal client and giving you tangible steps in order to do so. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast so that you don't miss any component of this, because we have the most killer lineup for the first series of this new era of That's My Personal Business. So let's talk about branding. What does this even mean? Now that you know that it's absolutely necessary, because not only have I been saying it for years, but Google is saying it now too. What even is a brand, right? And when I talk about branding to like small creatives, their first thought is either their logo and aesthetics. They're like, that's what it is. That's what I'm working on. Or the second thing is they kind of just describe what a niche is. So they're like, yeah, I'm a destination wedding photographer. I'm a VA for creatives. I'm a wedding planner. And while that's helpful information, that's just a niche. That's just literally what you do. It's not a brand. It doesn't tell me anything about what you do that's different than everyone else on the market. And in today's day and age, not only are there millions of us in the self-employed journey, but there's also millions of us online. We have access to millions of other businesses through the online space, which means that you need to be more than just your niche. You need to have a discernible brand that people can tell you apart from the competition on. So what I want you to do is like sit down, write out your niche, right? Maybe this is where you start. You're just going to declare what it is that you do. Get as specific as you can, right? This could even be something like, I'm an editorial wedding photographer who serves destination couples from blah, blah, blah. Still a niche. Then I want you to sit down and I want you to ask yourself 2 questions. What are my favorite parts about myself? And I want you to get as detailed as possible. Like, what are my favorite parts about my style? What are my favorite things about that, like my personality that I bring to the table? What are my favorite parts about my life? And then I want you to ask yourself, how do I make my friends and family feel when I'm around them? And if you can't answer that yourself, that's totally fine. I want you to text them right now. Text your best friend, text your mom, whoever you need. And I want you to ask a bunch of them, not just one, as many as you can. How do I make you feel when you spend time with me? Or like, what is your favorite part of our relationship? Because that is something, those answers that are going to come to you, whether it's your favorite things about yourself or it's what your people feel like when they have an experience with you, those are the things that you're going to want to start bringing into your business and highlighting within your business, because those are definitions and signs of who you are as a human, which means when you bring them into your business, not only is it going to set you further apart within your niche, it's going to start creating a brand that is intuitive or caring or hardworking or bold or honest or encouraging, whatever the words are that you came up with. But it's also going to provide you more fulfillment. Like, I am happier in my business when I am upfront about who I am, what my strengths are, what I bring to the table, how I'm going to coach you, because it's like I just get to be myself every day and work with creatives who value that. And it's going to be the same for you within your niche, whatever product and service you sell. So I want you to ask yourself those two questions. What are my strengths? What do I love about myself? What do I bring to the table, right? Like, on a very surface level, like, I love my sense of style. It's bold, it's weird, it's colorful, it's kind of out there. And like, I bring that into my business. If you have not already, look at the website. It's crazy. It's not for everyone. It's literally hot pink, black, bright colors. Like, some of my branding photos are literally me topless. And do you know who hates that? People that I probably don't want to spend that much time with. Like, if they don't like it, then I probably don't want to spend a lot of time with them, aka I don't want to work with them. And that's okay, because then my dream clients come in and they're like, wow, this is bold, this is honest, this is progressive, this is individualistic, and that's what I'm looking for in my business. And those are the kinds of people that I want to work with. So I want you to write these things out and like, be honest, brainstorm. Bonus points if it's not something people are already seeing in the industry. Like, that's one thing that I really want you to hold on to, is if you're looking at this list and you're like, this is too out there, this is too weird, people aren't doing this, that's not a bad thing. That's actually a really, really good thing, because that means that you're going to have less competition and therefore an easier way breaking into the market and connecting with your ideal clients. I cannot stress this enough. Your ideal clients are out there. They might just not even know that they can hire you for these dream jobs that you're like brainstorming, because you're not talking about them, because you're not showing up honestly, because you're not declaring your brand. So I want you to get really comfortable being brutally honest with yourself on how you want to show up in your business, and then start communicating it. No holding back. Bring it to the table. Show them what you're all about, why they should be working with you over anyone else, and it's going to be magical. So that is your homework for this week. I want you to sit down. I want you to answer those two questions. Text your friends and family, and then look at those answers and be like, how can I bring this more into my business? And how can I communicate this more with the people that haven't worked with me yet? How can I show them that this is who I am and this is what my brand is? All right, you guys, that is a wrap for the first episode of this series. We're going to start you off small so that you have the foundation laid out. If you want to dive in a little bit further before we talk about showing up, taking self-portraits, showing our face next week with Carly May, we have linked a few freebies for you in the bio. Obviously, if you're a wedding photographer, you can take the 12 archetypes quiz. We have a whole bunch of branding goodness and just freebies in general for you in the bio. And the best of news, Calling All Brands is back this month. That should have been before, but it's fine. But Calling All Brands is back, which is literally our fan favorite course. Like, everyone loves, photographers love our artificial light course, and it's like easily our best seller. However, Calling All Brands, like, there's no course that we get better feedback on and more just like intuitive, emotional feedback that makes me cry every time on how it changed people's lives and businesses. And it's back. It only opens twice a year. You can get started for very, very little. We have up to, I want to say it's like 10-month payment plan, 9-month payment plan. So we will link that for you in the show notes. Calling All Brands is personally my baby. It is what changed everything in my business. So if you're ready to work on your brand completely from the inside out, hop into that. Come get started with us. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss this new chapter and also this entire series on branding this month. I'm literally so excited. It's going to be so magical. So we will see you next time, and please share this on your stories. Share the good news. Share the new profile pic. I know that whenever you listen to podcasts and they're like, leave us a review and like share on your stories, you're probably like, oh yeah, I'll get to it next time. It means so much, you guys. Like, it truly does change our lives and our businesses and our podcast when you guys shout us out. And it also just makes me so happy to know that it's helping you and that it's resonating with you. So if you have a second, we would love if you left us a review, share it on your stories to share the good news that we're starting a new chapter of That's My Personal Business. And I'm so excited to have you along. I will see you guys next time, and we're going to dive even further into our brands.